Greetings everyone. Today we're going to explore graphing lines in point-slope form. Make note of the name, point-slope. The name tells us the information that will be given in the equation. So what you're already familiar with is slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form contains the slope of m and the intercept of b, which is the y-intercept. So what's going to be new today is point slope form contains a point, a coordinate value of x, y, and the slope is still going to be your m value, and it's still located in front of the x. So you'll definitely want to jot this down in your notes. If you have the foldable from class, that would be ideal. We're taking a look at, when I talk about this y1, that's my starting y value. So I'm trying to create a point that's x1 comma y1. Now you'll notice that there's a subtraction sign there. That means I'm going to use the opposite sign. For just a quick example, meaning if it says y minus 5, that actually means that my y value is going to be positive 5. We use the opposite sign. Let's look at the x value. It says minus x. That's my x1 of my coordinate. Same idea with the opposite sign, meaning if I see x plus 10 in parentheses, that actually means my x value is negative 10. Now your m value is still your slope. It's still right in front of the x, in the same spot after the equal sign, and we're still going to use it the same way to calculate our rise over run. So here's some examples. If you're jotting these down in your notes, you do not need all this extra information. The key thing is we're going to have an equation each time, and I'm going to ask you the same questions. M, rise, run, starting point. Let's start with what we know, all right? What we know, what's good, what's green, good to go, is our m value is always between our equals and our x. So if I say my m is 2, how do I turn that into rise over run? Well, technically it's 2 over 1, so my rise is 2, my run is 1. So remember, if you're missing a piece of your slope, it's a 1. My starting point, here's what's new. My x value is always with my x, but it's going to be the opposite sign. My y value is always with my y, but it's the opposite sign. So the 3 came from the x, the 5 came from the y, and we changed their signs. Let's take a look at another one. Again, if you're jotting this down, possibly pause, just the equation, and then we'll label the information. What we're good to go on is the slope. The slope is in front of the x. Uh-oh, I'm missing. I don't have a value there. What value could I multiply by that wouldn't change anything? Or what number could I leave out and it's still okay? A 1. So that means my m is 1 and my rise and run are also 1 because it'd be 1 over 1. Let's talk about our starting point. That's what's new. What number is with my x? A positive 2. So I need to write a negative 2. What number is with my y? It says positive 9, so I need to write negative 9. Now we could get into all the reasons why the signs are opposite. That would be another video. So for right now, we're going to simplify things and just take that point out and change its signs. Let's take a look at another one. Green, good to go. My slope is between my equals and my x. It is a negative 2. Therefore, my rise is negative 2. My run is 1. Or you could say positive 2 and negative 1. That's okay as well. Only one of the numbers needs the negative sign. What number's with my x? My starting x value, it says positive 3, but I write negative 3. What number's with my y? Oh, nothing. Okay. What could I add or subtract onto something that doesn't change it? If there was a blank here, what could I fill in? a 0. So my y value is 0. Nothing's being added or subtracted on. So here's kind of the general rule. If you're missing something with your m, it's a 1. If you're missing something with your point, it's a 0. Every time. All right, so with that idea in mind, let's take a look at this example. My slope is in front of my x after my equals. It's 1/3. Therefore, it's rise over run. Got to separate those numbers out. What number is being added or subtracted to my x? Nothing. Nothing's being added. So if nothing's being added, that's the 0. What's being added or subtracted to my y? Positive 5. So I want to write -5. All right, let's put this more into practice. We've identified the parts, but we're also going to have to graph. So same idea, looking at the equation. If you need to do just a little side graph on your notes, if you have the foldable, they should be in the foldable. Otherwise, just a little sketch, okay? First, let's identify the parts. The m is the value in front of x. Uh-oh, I'm missing it. What can I multiply by that'll keep it the same? A 1. If you're missing anything to do with a slope, it's 1. Therefore, my rise and run are both 1. Starting point for my x, it says x minus 2, so I'm going to write positive 2. It says y minus 7, so I'm going to write positive 7. So let's take this to a graph. First, this is called starting point for a reason. It's where you start. Your starting point is right 2 up 7. And you'll want to label that SP. Okay, starting point. Just to make it stand out, it makes it easier to evaluate your answers and make sure that you've graphed correctly. Now I need from the starting point to count my slope. This is why we identified our rise and our run. I'm going to rise 1, run 1. Follow my graph. Oops, sorry. Rise 1, run 1, rise 1, run 1. If you run out of space, you have to go the other direction. Down 1, left 1, down 1, left 1. Remember my rule in class is 5 or fill. So I need to see 5 dots or fill the graph, whichever comes first. All right, I'm going to go a little quicker through these. The m is 1/3 because it's the number in front of x. Therefore, my rise is 1, my run is 3. For a starting point, for my x, I'm subtracting 4. I'm going to write positive 4. For my y, it says plus 3 to the y. I'm going to write minus 3. My starting point is 4, -3. Look where that is. Right 4, down 3. That's my SP, starting point. From there, I need to count my slope. Rise 1, run 3. Follow my dots. Rise 1, run 3. Other direction. Down 1, left 3. Down 1, left 3. 5 or fill is my rule. Okay, 5 dots or fill the graph. Now, if you're trying to keep up with the writing, just pause, rewind, do what you need to do to stay on your own pace, okay? All right, let's take a look at this one. I'll go a little bit quicker again. If you need to pause, please do so. The number in front of x is -2. Therefore, my rise is -2, and I'm missing a run, so it's 1, because technically this is over 1. X value, it says plus 3. I'm going to write minus 3. Y value, it says -1. I'm going to do positive 1, which means my starting point is left 3 up 1, the coordinate value of -3, 1. My slope is down 2, run 1. Oops, rise -2. Oh, whoops, let me fix that. Okay, ignore that one. Down -2, right 1. Down -2, right 1. Down -2, right 1. Down -2, right 1. In this case, I didn't even have to go the other direction. I was able to get my 5 dots. All right, I'm looking for my slope. Be careful, don't forget about this negative. It's a negative 1/2, which means either my 1 or the 2 get the negative. I always apply it to the rise. Use it right away. Starting point, I'm adding 5 to the x, so I'm going to put -5 for my x. Y, ooh, there's nothing with my y. Nothing. So I'm going to add 0 to keep it the same. So that means my starting point on the x-axis at -5 and 0 up or down. Okay, that's my starting point right there. Count my slope, rise -1, run 2. Follow my dots, rise -1, run 2. Rise -1, run 2, and so on. 5 or fill, connect, oops, sorry about that, not a very straight line, and arrows. All right, so that was a quick overview of how to graph when equations are in point-slope form. So first of all, always check Google Classroom, no matter what year, no matter what situation, see what else you have on your to-do list. And the key points to remember, okay, key points, wow, I can't even write that. Key points, okay, are always identify your M. It's always in the same spot. And then you have to do the opposite x value and the opposite y value, okay? That's going to be the most kind of toughest thing just to remember is the opposite signs, all right? If you need help, make sure to let me know. If there's anything you need from me, shoot me an email, visit with me in class, and until next time, have a good one.